All right, my fellow strategists, we are there. We are finally time to talk about strategy formulation. All right, my favorite chapter in the book. Okay, that's a little bit geeky because who has a favorite chapter? Most people don't, but this is my favorite. All right, we are talking about chapter 5, which is business level strategies. Please remember, and I talked about the example in the slides, if we have a company like Gap, Inc., Gap Incorporated, at their corporate level, they have 5 brands underneath that. You might want to stop this for a minute and go to their website, gap.com, and look at the tabs at the top that have all 5 of their businesses underneath their corporation of Gap Incorporated. Each one of those, we can identify what type of strategy, business level strategy, Gap has, Old Navy, Banana Republic, Athleta, and Piperlime. They all employ it. And this is all about how do we compete? How do we compete? There's only a few ways. And if I ask you a question on what is the business level strategy of a certain company, I'm looking for you to answer in only a few ways. And if we look at the top of page 163, which is exhibit 5.1, there are 3 generic strategies there. All right. It's very easy. There is the differentiation strategy, which would be like a Banana Republic or a Piperlime or Athleta type company. They are differentiated in the market. There is some reason they are unique and different, and that is perceived by the customer, and that's why you buy their products. Versus an overall cost leadership strategy, which that one is about having the lowest prices in the market. If you have the lowest prices, you have to have the lowest cost structure or one of the lowest cost structures to compete. So a company like Walmart, a company like Old Navy, a company like Southwest Airlines, all are employing a cost leadership strategy. It is not easy to do because it's all based on price. So the value drivers there are figuring out how to internally have the lowest cost structure. So we talked about value chain in previous chapters and all of the components that go into making the product. In a cost leadership strategy, remember this, it's a key point, might be on a quiz, the cost leadership strategy, every single piece of that value chain, the cost has to be minimized. So you don't have extra marketing people, extra salespeople, you don't have higher level quality products or things like that. You're trying to minimize, whenever you can, your cost structure to have a low price structure to give to and deliver to your customer, because that's how you're competing in the open market. Versus differentiation, that's where you will have better materials. You'll have a better service department like Best Buy has versus Amazon, things like that. So you will purposely pump money into certain pieces of that value chain to create value for the customer. And when you create more value for them, they will pay more and you will charge a higher price. All right? Key concept here. The only difference is the bottom box that says focus. Either you can have a focused differentiation strategy or a focused overall cost leadership strategy. That's it. So you can't have a focus alone is not a strategy. All right, it's focused on a market, a geography, a segment, a gender sometimes, male, female, okay, kids versus adults versus the baby boomer generation, okay, all of these different segmentations and different ways to focus, which companies do it all the time. We think of a company like Porsche, Rolex, okay, Louis Vuitton, purses, if anyone's familiar with those. That's high-end differentiation, and they are only focusing on people that they know can afford a $1,000 purse or a $100,000 car, right? They know the whole population can't do that. So there is a differentiation strategy, there's cost leadership strategy, and then either one of those can be focused on a certain piece or part of the population, right? Very easy to understand. Now we're going to go through, and the book's going to explain all these different value drivers and reasons and examples and things like that. But this is a really key piece to understand, because you have to understand in this class what's the difference between business level, how do we compete, versus corporate level strategy, which is at the Gap Inc. level, which is where do we compete, all right, which we're going to talk about in future chapters. Important concept. I love this chapter. It's great. We'll have lots of great examples, lots of great information coming out of it. Thanks, guys.